Welcome, everybody, to the College Basketball Preview Show on the Grueling True Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and today we are going to look at an SEC battle between the Texas Longhorns, who are kind of hanging on the NCAA tournament bubble right now. They'll battle the Kentucky Wildcats, fresh off sweeping the season series against the Tennessee Volunteers. The game time is set for 8 p.m. in Austin, Texas, on Saturday night. Now, this is the Horns' first year in the SEC, so this will be the first conference matchup between these two teams all time. This is the third meeting ever between the programs. The last came in 1993 in the Maui Invitational. In it, Kentucky won 86-61. And in a 2014 meeting in the Big 12 SEC Challenge, Kentucky won 63-51. Picked to finish seventh in the conference, the Longhorns are underperforming compared to expectations. They had a record of 4-8 in the ACC or SEC. They are currently tied with Georgia for 11th. However, 6 of their 8 losses have come to ranked teams. In addition, the Longhorns are ranked 33 by the net and are one of the last projected teams in the latest ESPN bracketology. So they still have plenty to play for. But to make the field, they're going to need a big win at some point in the final weeks. And Kentucky at home is very vulnerable right now with Jackson Robinson and Lamont Butler almost certainly to be out missing this game. Led by Rodney Terry, who is currently in his third season with the Longhorns, they have one of the most talented freshmen in the country, and Trey Johnson, who previously had Kentucky as a finalist. However, the pieces around him have been inconsistent, leading to the team's inconsistencies. So you've got Terry, you've got Johnson, you've got 2 very good players. How do you win this game? Now, Kentucky takes everybody's best shot, and they need to be prepared for Texas to be at its best. Now, controlling the pace will be huge. Texas averages less than 67 possessions per game with an average possession length of more than 17 seconds. Texas likes to play at a slow pace. Kentucky is one of the worst teams in the country at forcing turnovers, but their defensive intensity has picked up in the last 2 games. This is one area in which they could speed up the game some. They're going to have to speed up this game. They're going to have to make Texas uncomfortable. However, that will be a difficult task without Lamont Butler spearheading the defense. The more likely scenario is to control the boards if you want to win the game. Texas has only won the rebounding battle in just 4 of their 12 SEC games, and they have not been a strong rebounding team this season. The biggest threat that Kentucky will have to watch on the boards is probably Arthur Kaluma and Caden Shedrick. However, Kaluma is iffy to play as he's battling knee soreness right now. Commit to the boards and Kentucky can play the game at a pace they are comfortable with. Let Texas control the boards. You're going to be bogged down in a slow rock fight, which is not conducive to the Wildcats winning this game. Now, the big story for this Kentucky team over the past several weeks has been injuries. Unfortunately, it has only gotten worse, not better, especially at the point guard position. After missing 3 games with a shoulder injury, Lamont Butler returned against South Carolina, only for Jackson Robinson to suffer a wrist injury in practice the day before. After Robinson re-injured his wrist against South Carolina, he's expected to be out for multiple games. Highly doubtful he plays in this one. Then Butler re-aggravated his shoulder against Tennessee and is also expected to be out possibly multiple games. Now, while Mark Pope expects to have both of them back in time for March, the Kentucky staff will have to get even more creative with both true point guards out. Now, how do you overcome that? It will likely be, to me, point guard by committee, with Travis Perry, Otega Owe, Kobe Bria, and Amari Williams all playing their part. Bria is the most interesting case on this team, though. On the points per possession basis, Bria is the highest rated major player in the country. In the last 2 games, he has 8 assists to 0 turnovers. He also ran the point for much of Kentucky's 20-6 run to end Tuesday's win over a top 5 Tennessee team. However, this will be the first game where the opponent knows Bria is going to be the lead guard for at least most of the game or a lot of the game. Will he be able to handle an opponent that's actually game plan for him as the primary ball handler? Now, when a team is suffering through injuries, players have to step up. That is exactly what has happened to Kentucky over the last month, that they have been dealing with injuries and people have had to step up. First off, it was Ainsley Amore who stepped up in place of Andrew Carr. Or as of late, the trio of freshmen have stepped in their own ways for the Wildcats. Trent Noah has a knack for the ball and getting rebounds. He's also moving himself into the spot of being a shooting threat. Travis Perry has taken some point guard duties and is shooting 4 of 6 from 3 over the last 4 games, while Colin Chandler is using his athleticism on the defensive end. This will only help this team in the long run. It's going to make them deeper when it comes to March Madness. If they sustain an injury, then it's not going to be as big a deal. Right now, I don't see a point spread on this game. And while the percentages vary a little bit, the score predictions are all within one score when you look at Ken Palm, Brent Torvik, all these, and the majority of them have Texas winning this game. Now, winning a road game in the SEC is tough, especially without a full roster. That said, I think this Wildcat team is resilient. I think guys will step up here. I think that the Kentucky Wildcats will win this game. I like Kentucky to win this game somewhere in the 75-68, 75-71 region. Texas, if they're a small favorite, bet Kentucky on the money line. If Kentucky is a small favorite, I would bet them up to minus 2.5 points. I think Kentucky wins this game in the end, and I think Kentucky's starting to get right. I think what you'll see here is a much more dangerous Kentucky team because of the injuries. Once you get Butler and those guys back and they're healthy, this team is going to be as deep as any team in the country. The only question is, can the defense continue to turn it up like they did against Tennessee? If they can continue to play better defense, Kentucky is a threat to make it to the Final Four. If the defense doesn't step up, they're a threat to get upset in the first or second round of the tournament. All right, guys, take the Wildcats to win this game. I would take them to win on the money line. I think they're going to beat Texas. Texas is an underperforming team who has not been consistent this year. They play at a slow pace. Look for the Wildcats to tear them up on the boards and get a little cushion right at the end of the game to win by 5 or 6 points. 74-68 is what we'll call it. All right, guys, you can follow me on X at Grilling Truth. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification on YouTube. If you want to bet the game, go to BetMGM, our top-rated sports book. You can click on the link in the description down below if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you check out thegruelingtruth.com. But for now, guys, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.